Good morning everyone! Today I'm taking you to the Luxor East Bank to show you sites you've probably never seen before, the lesser-known temples of Montu, ancient patron deity of Thebes. So I'll show you places where the guards are rather surprised to see any tourists. Little known, forbidden places, yet beautiful and fascinating at the same time. Hidden temples, the sacred space of Montu, including the so-called Theban Palladium, the heart of a powerful cult to which the Thebans have remained faithful for thousands of years. I'll try to show you two Ptolemaic temples. They're both located on the eastern bank of the Nile and they're both dedicated to Montu. One of them is closed to visitors. Let's see what happens. The Temple of Montu in El-Tod is located 20 kilometers southwest of Luxor. Its ruins are surrounded by a modern village. Few visitors choose to visit this place, so you're about to see very rare footage. Let's go! The Old Kingdom temple was expanded in the Middle Kingdom, and its final form was given to it by the Ptolemies. To the limestone temple of Sennefer I from the 20th century BC, Ptolemaic builders added sandstone vestibules, like this reconstructed pronaos. During the reign of the Roman Emperor Antoninus Pius in the 2nd century AD, the majority of the exterior reliefs were completed. Most of them, of course, show Montu, the lord of the temple, and his divine companion, Ra-Tawi. Montu was the primeval solar god of the Theban region. His cult spread throughout the country thanks to the rulers of the Theban 11th dynasty, who, put under his divine protection, managed to reunify the country around 2055 BC, establishing a new capital in Thebes. Most of them chose the name Mentuhotep, meaning Montu is pleased, as their crown name. Montu's connection with their victory explains why from the Middle Kingdom onward he was considered a god of war, all-powerful, though subordinate to Amun-Ra, the new supreme state deity and protector of the empire. The lord of the battlefield, chief of weapons, great of fear who smites the rebels, mighty of arm who destroys the enemies of Ra. Montu, primarily a solar deity, was seen in Upper Egypt as the equivalent of Heliopolitan Ra, and was thus called Montu Ra. Over time, his theology significantly enriched, and here he was worshipped as the syncretic deity Amun Ra Montu, a sun warrior and universal creator god in one. In iconography, Montu resembles Ra-Horachti, with a human body and a falcon's head, surmounted by a solar disk. His distinctive feature, however, are the two long falcon feathers on his head. From the late period when the cult of the Bukis bull developed, Montu was often depicted as a man with a bull's head. In the late period and during Greco-Roman times, his cult experienced a renaissance. These were times of great flourishing of local and folk cults, as well as zealotry. At that time, the focus shifted to the animal that was his earthly hypostasis, the Bukis bull. Bukis embodied Ka of Montu. It's the least known of the three great sacred bulls of ancient Egypt, alongside Apis of Memphis and Mnevis of Heliopolis. While Apis embodied the creator god Ptah, Mnevis Atum, Bukis was called the living image of Montu.
The criteria for selecting Montu's animal incarnation appear to be similar to those for Apis. Bookies had to be white with a black snout. Bulls were recognized among hundreds of thousands of calves by their distinctive markings and behavior, and then kept in special, luxurious sanctuaries and led in sacred processions exactly like statues of deities. They were usually kept in Thebes, although their coronation ceremonies, in at least 2 cases, took place in Armand, Hermontis in Greek, a city neighboring El-Tod located across the Nile. Armand was called by the ancients Heliopolis of the south. Bookies thus represented especially the solar aspect of this Theban god. Dead bulls, on the other hand, were titled Osiris Bookies. We don't know how old its cult is, but Bookies has been identified with the god Montu at least since the time of Nectanebo II, the last ruler of the 30th dynasty in the 4th century BC. It's known that bulls traveled between the 2 cities, Armand and Thebes, on their sacred barks. Known from the New Kingdom Theban tomb paintings, which I showed you in many of my previous videos, the white bull displayed during the beautiful Feast of the Valley is likely Bookies. Although his cult barely extended beyond the borders of the Theban region, it achieved extraordinary popularity here. In the Roman period, his images were even minted on coins. The necropolis of the sacred bulls was the so-called Bookium, on the edge of the desert, north of the city of Armand. The earliest known burial took place in the 14th year of the reign of Nectanebo II, and the last mention of a bull burial dates back to the reign of Emperor Diocletian in the 4th century AD. In El-Tod, Montu formed a triad with the goddess Rat-Tawi and Harpocrates, Horus the Child, extremely popular in Greco-Roman times. Rat-Tawi was the female aspect of the sun, the female counterpart of Ra, the mighty one in El-Tod, mistress of the universe. She is therefore a local great solar goddess, an equivalent of great national goddesses like Hathor or the Greco-Roman Isis. Rat-Tawi thus resembles Hathor, with the solar disk between cow horns on her head. Solar goddesses are particularly difficult to distinguish from one another in later periods. Sometimes depicted in lion-headed form as the solar eye, she is also known as Maat in Thebes, the Lady of Heaven, the Lady of Gods. Tawi means 2 lands, a common name used by the ancients for their state, the United Kingdoms of Upper and Lower Egypt. Rat, on the other hand, is the feminine form of Ra, that is, the sun that reigns supreme over Egypt as the Heavenly Mother. During the reign of Thutmose III in the 15th century BC, a way-station chapel for the sacred bark was built in front of the temple. Although Ptolemaic renovations of old sanctuaries generally meant completely dismantling the temple and rebuilding it from scratch according to a new design, naturally reusing the original blocks, here fragments of a 1300 years older Thutmosite structure have been miraculously preserved. The rarely visited area is becoming overgrown, as you can see, with dense reed thickets. Perhaps soon the tall grasses will swallow the monument again, leaving it hidden within. Just as it was when discovered, probably in 1829, by Jean-François Champollion, the father of Egyptology. In the more humid microclimate, once regularly flooded cultivation areas of the Nile Valley, temples like this one were doomed to collapse. Other temples in the region also suffered a similar fate. Of the oldest temple of Montu in a nearby Armand, almost nothing remains. The cult of Montu in the Thebaid maintained continuous popularity from at least the Middle Kingdom to the Roman times, as evidenced by its elaborate local theology and extensive construction activity at its sanctuaries. In the fourth nome of Upper Egypt, there were 4 main centers dedicated to Montu. These formed what is called the Theban Palladium, a sacred land under Montu's protection. This area stretched from El-Tod and nearby Armand in the south to the North Karnak and furthest to the north, Medamut.
I'm really surprised how picturesque it is. You can almost feel like the 19th century explorer here.
The site is famous for the so-called Tod treasure. In 1936, French archaeologists came upon a foundation deposit from the Middle Kingdom, hidden in the stone foundations beneath a Byzantine church that existed here at the time. And it was a true treasure, as it contained 2 large chests filled with lapis lazuli, both raw and worked stones. The smaller caskets contained bars and small vessels made of gold, totaling 7 kilograms and nearly 9 kilograms of silver, vessels, bars, and rings connected by chains. And even more valuable were the Mesopotamian cylinder seals. It appears that the deposit contained foreign tributes sent to the pharaoh from such distant lands as Greece, Anatolia, Syria, and even Iran. It's worth remembering that Bronze Age Egypt was the greatest power in the Old World, the richest and most influential for sure. Even the most distant kingdoms aspired to be on the pharaoh's list of tributaries, which likely served as a sort of who's who of the era. The pharaoh received tribute even from states that weren't politically subordinate to Egypt. The lids and front panels of the chests bear cartouches with the names of Amenemhat II of the 12th dynasty, the king who made the deposit, perhaps on behalf of his deceased father, Senusret I, who initiated the expansion of the temple. Some believe these objects predate the 12th dynasty, and they could have been reused as foundation deposits. The entire treasure was split between the Louvre and the Cairo Museum. As you can see, right at the entrance to the area, architectural elements from different periods are exhibited in the form of an open-air museum. Including pieces of the Byzantine church. Now we're heading 26 kilometers to the northeast to Medamut, called Kerameia by the Greeks. It was the northernmost city of the Theban Palladium, one of the 4 cult sites of Montu. There are the ruins of a vast Greco-Roman sanctuary of the god of war, the Temple of Combat, as it was called. The focus here was on the Taurine aspects of Montu, the bull of Medamut, the lord of Thebes within Medamut. The sanctuary likely existed here as early as the Old Kingdom. The remains of the temple we see today date from Ptolemaic times. Some texts mention a divine tomb in Medamut itself, where a primeval creator, similar to Amun Kematef, who was worshipped at Habu in western Thebes, is said to rest. Here in Medamut, this creator was called the August Bull. He was depicted here in a purely anthropomorphic form, adopting the classic attributes of Montu, such as the solar disk and double feathers on his head. As a primordial deity, he embodies the complex nature of the 4 male members of the Ogdoad, a group of pre-deities, existing even before the first time, Zeptepi, aspects of the cosmic primordial ocean. The theological doctrine of Medamut identified these beings with the 4 Montus, worshipped at the 4 centers of the Theban Palladium. Drawing on the theologies of Amun-Ra and Montu-Ra, the local priests created a deity that combined aspects of both gods. This theological innovation was likely intended to bring together not only the 2 gods of Thebes, but also their priesthood. According to some, the sanctuary housed another animal avatar of the god, the bull of Medamut, a bull said to be the incarnation of that syncretic god called the August Bull.
It took me around 40 minutes to get here, but as it sometimes happens in Egypt, I need a special permission to get inside. So now I can film only from the outside.
Well, coming here I knew I was taking a risk. The site isn't open to visitors, unfortunately. The guards stood their ground and wouldn't let me in. I was allowed to film only from a distance, as an exception of course, for which I apologize to you guys. The most famous center of the Theban Palladium is of course the precinct of Montu in Karnak, one of the 3 main temple enclosures, along with the sanctuaries of Amun and Mut, that make up this largest temple complex in the ancient world. Although I often visit Karnak, I haven't visited the remains of the precinct of Montu in several years, so I don't know what to expect. The site, covering 20,000 square meters, contains the remains of the temples of Montu, Harpocrates, and the only one in Egypt temple of Mad, identified of course with Ratawi. Only the monumental northern gate, built by the Ptolemies, remains in good condition. It served as the departure point for sacred processions to Medamut. Our destination lies beyond the high walls of the precinct of Amun. Its gate is adjacent to the small temple of Ptah. I've already shown you this picturesque northern part of Karnak in one of my previous videos. You'll find the link in the description below. In a moment, we'll see the scarce remains of the temple of Oh no, we won't.
I wanted to show you the most important temple of Montu in Thebes, but it seems that I'm out of luck this time and it is closed because of the archaeological works on site. The gate is closed. Perhaps next time.
The Chinese are working in this part of Karnak. Time to go back to the West Bank. It's going to get really hot here soon, so next time I'll take you north. So stay tuned.
Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to my channel, like my video and leave a comment below. And if you're interested in the history of ancient Egypt, please check out my podcast. I'd like to thank all my patrons. Thank you very much. You know that without you, it wouldn't be possible. Thank you from the bottom of my heart.
And see you on another ancient site.